Okay, bear with me. I hope you can bear with me. Welcome to the stream. I'm turning down the volume a little bit. Let me know if it's all right. And this is my turtle, Gonzo. He's such a cutie. You'll be seeing him in the videos. Okay, but I'm gonna change the camera, and I don't only have one webcam, so bear with me a little bit. Probably it can make people seasick. Oh, what about now? It should be sound now. Let me know if it works. Thanks. I think you would look good as well if I saw you on stream. Can you give me a heads up if it works? Oh, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to fix the video background. That should do it. My magic trick. Okay. So I've been working on a smaller type game, and I am gonna make a YouTube video about that later, which is gonna be a lot of fun. It's about me making a game without any skills. And obviously I have a lot of skills, but I'm taking away those skills and only using assets and only using what's built in Unity already. So I'm not using like Photoshop or any 3D programs like that. So I think it's quite interesting, and it's just, I guess, for beginners and people who are interested in it to see what can you do without great skills, I guess, because that's what I got. Now, in all honesty, it's just a good exercise, I think, and I often spend way too much time on my games, so I think it could be fun just to make something fast. I'll run it for you and you'll see. So this is, I can explain kind of what's been going on with this. Oh yeah, so there's a game over screen on top, and that's obviously not the point. Let me hide that. Game screen. So it's a top-down shooter, and you can hit, and you can like walk around in this environment. Yeah, it lags a bit when you open it in the editor. And then the objective is obviously to get through this level, and it's kind of inspired by Hotline Miami and maybe a bit Enter the Gungeon. So this is an enemy, and he'll follow you, and you'll be like, damn, I wanna do something bad to him. So it lagged now because the blood effects are not loaded in, and when I try to load those in, it lags a little bit. So now I got a gun, it only has 2 bullets. But if I'm okay, now I have -1 bullet. Yeah, so I got hurt, so that's why the effects are a bit more like pronounced. And the levels are random generated. Boom. It's very bloody. And you see the weapons that are dropped, those you can pick up. There's only two, not levels, guns. There's only 2 guns at the moment that you can pick up. Let's see if I got, oh. It's quite, oh no, I'm gonna die. No. Ah. Yeah, I kind of like a live devlog. I just want to show the stuff that I've been working on. I really like this effect when you die. So there's a couple of things that I want to work on today, but I want to do something that we can reset the game. Oh no, this is on top again. You can actually do that. You can go behind the enemy and kill them. I'll see if they have a sight, so like a sight cone. So okay, now he saw me. Got him. So this is the Uzi, which is way cooler. If he didn't see me, you could sneak behind him, but as soon as when you shoot, they'll hear you. Let's see if I can see this guy. They only had regular guns, so nothing too exciting there. And then there's not a lot of sound effects on it. There's a little bit of shooting, but not a ton. And there's some bugs. You see a lot of bugs, but just ignore it. You don't see it. So yeah, so every time it's a new level that you have to get through, and also want to add a bit more variety to it, so it won't be the same all the time. And there's only a few of them where, oh no, we got him. There's only a few of them where the enemies spawn. So that should be a bit more random as well. Like this module is one module and the enemy doesn't spawn there. So you can sneak up all the way behind them. Oh, damn. It's quite intense once you get into it. I'll see if I can finish the level. No. Oh. Amazing ragdoll physics is a feature as well. Got him. Okay. So you have, I think you can take like 3 shots and then you'll die. Oh, so you mean, yeah, maybe in the hallway there could be flickering lights. Like you mean in this area, maybe that could be cool. Thanks. I mean, this is the exit. So once you reach this elevator, you will go up to maybe the next floor and you'll be able to go through that as well and fight your way through. And the idea was that it's an office building and you would paint it with blood. So it would be kind of like stale and boring, but once you get in there, you'll be able to like make it cool by shooting all the guys. And if there's a lot of guys, they should be able to, you can see if you walk into the objects, they'll just fall around, which I think is quite fun. So that's kind of like a simple way to give some more liveliness to the levels. And then when you shoot, there's a small pushback. And those kind of the things that I added. So one thing I want to do now actually is just to add some colors to yeah, we need a story as well. But I want to do a color to the player. So this is just the asset that I grabbed from the asset store. This guy. And that's the player, and I use Playmaker, but there's ways to get around that. You could just use there's some cool assets for making a top-down shooter as well that you could use if that's in your interest. And it's just a default material. Okay, so graphics, placeholders. I'll just create player material. I think it could be cool to have like it would be a story, but every time you play it would be a different story, kind of like a generation of stories. But I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. It could be just a preset of different stories you could get, and then I could put the turtle in it as well. So the turtle could be a story, and there could be different stories. I don't know. Let's see. yeah, it could be that there was a hitman and he had to do a job, for example. That could be a cool story as well. There's endless possibilities. I thought it could be funny to be ultra violent versus like small problems you have to deal with. For example, like the television company or your phone company took a bit too much money in your latest bill, and now you just want to kill them. I know that's pretty dark, but I think it's really funny as well. Yeah, a boss would be awesome as well, to have some kind of boss in the end. I think I'm gonna do a lot of stuff with this, but I mean, there's also a limit to what you can do with, I guess, free stuff. Oh, is this just loading in the skin? Yeah, so this is some of the code. It's very simple and it's very visual. So not a lot of stuff have been done. So I can show it if you're interested in it. But this is apparently the character that we load up. Save. Yeah, so this is the one that I found on the asset store as well. And I just applied some ragdoll physics to this guy. But now I want to do the material. I'm not used to streaming, so excuse me for being a bit slow. There we go. So now we should have colors on them. I should disable this when I'm not playing, because then it'll keep being disabled. Alright, that's cool. And that is quite hard. It's quite a hard game. Hardcore, I would call it, even. Okay, so this, I think I want to kind of like cheat this, so it could be that it's the game over screen, but it's also just the pause screen. And that means, because then we don't need to make two different ones, so I think I'll just add a button as well. Actually, I'll just copy this. And then this one would be settings. Cool. And then this could change to being paused instead, so it'd be like a pause. I think it would be cool if there's an icon in front of it. It's kind of like inspired by 80s and 90s, maybe more 90s, but bad TVs and bad connections to your cables and stuff like that. That's why I have all these effects on when you play the game. And then I have the pixel art for the menu, and I think like all the HUD elements should be pixel art, which would be awesome. What I wanted to do is actually settings is probably gonna feature only mouse sensitivity, and then restart is the most important part, I would say. Because there's no way right now to pause, not pause, restart the game or anything like that. So that's what I'm gonna look into if I can do. And that means that we also need to have a map generation each time. And this is also just an asset that I bought from the asset store called Dungeon. It says runtime dungeon, but it's called Dungeon, and it just generates a random thing. And then I bought another asset, which is the office package, which is the graphics for the environment, and I just kind of created small modules from that. It's really easy with this package, so that's nice. I want to set this to not run at one time, and then I don't want the player to be visible. So now if I run the game, it shouldn't do any of that. Alright, so it just runs this menu and there's nothing to do. Cool. Then I want to create an empty game object, and I'm going to call this, let's call it systems. And then I'm going to drag event system in and graphic system. And then I'm going to make a new one. Actually, can I zero this out? I think I can. Cool. And then I want to create one that's called game stages, probably. Or should it be game systems? Let's keep it consistent. Game systems. Game system. And this is gonna be like that. And this is gonna dictate the stages that we are in the game. So first of all, I'm gonna have a setup. And this is Playmaker, by the way, visual programming or scripting, whatever you want to call it. It's really easy, and the reason why I went with this instead of having a asset is just because you have a bit more control, and I find it easier to work with like this. So yeah. I don't know exactly if we're gonna have anything here, but let's just have a setup, and then this is gonna be generate level. And I'm gonna have drag this in. No, that's not the way. What is it? Dungeon generate. I wonder if this works. So apparently it might have some presets for Playmaker, since it already did that. I don't know if this works, but let's see. That'll be easy. Okay, yeah, so it actually did. It actually did create a level, and the reason for the screen being dead, the death screen now, is because it checks your health, and if you don't have any health, it shows the death effect. So set bool. So I'm gonna set a bool, and that's gonna be setting up or setup. No. Game setup. Let's call that. And we're gonna set that to true, and that means for the graphical system, if how is it this works? Oh yeah, so here it checks based on the health and how to set it. So I want to check the bool test, and I didn't make it that global. So this needs to be global, so everybody, like all the other systems, are going to be dependent on if the setup is done. Go to globals. So that means that it won't start doing stuff before it's before this is true. No, false actually. Game setup. So as long as it's true, this will be setting up everything. So let's just see if that works. Yeah, it does. That's great. So now we can also, this is generating the level, and then we can spawn the player. Spawn player. And create object. So this is just gonna create I'm a bit confused if it's which one it is. It's this one, I believe. And we need a place to spawn it, and I haven't set up anywhere to do this, so I'll just create a new global variable, and let's call it player spawn underscore geo for game object. And then once this is created, I'm gonna start as player 1. Cool. And then once we go into the next stage, I'll say all done. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say idle, because this is the idle state once we spawned our player, etc. So I don't think, because this is set to none, maybe I'll spawn it at the 000 coordinate. Let's see. I think it did. But you see, he's in the he's halfway in the floor. That's not great. But other than that, it looks like it's working. Can I kill this guy? No. Yeah, okay, so we need the right position. And I'll show you a bit about behind the scenes. So this is one of the modules that I did. This is always where you will start in this stage. There's actually some tweaking that I want to do here as well, but in this entrance, it's called, I have different ones. I also have a big office, and there's another module where you go into. Actually, these two are some I want to fix. No, not that one. Maybe I should just show highlighting. Yes, this one. So I believe there's one of these doesn't have cubicle. A mesh collider. Maybe I'm wrong. No, they all have. Okay, then it's probably just a mistake in, yeah, a bug. I'll fix that later. Never mind, that was sidetracked. Got sidetracked. Okay, so I'm gonna create a empty child, and this is gonna be player spawn. By the way, all ideas are welcome. If you have any ideas, you're welcome to let it out, let it rip in the chat. So now I'm a little bit unsure about. I don't think there's any gravity on the player, so it probably needs to be at the right angle. So I think it's 1 meter that we'll have, and then we'll say this is the entrance. So once this is created, we'll just tell them this is the spawn point. Get owner. So this is just defining the game object that we said earlier, player spawn. So now this will be determined as the player spawn, and I can even set like an icon to make it show more. But oh, that's crazy. That was not the right one. Gizmos. You can't really see it because the Playmaker icon is on top of it. But I mean, it helps to see that. Maybe I can turn that off because I'm not a big fan of those. Playmaker. I don't think that worked. Oh, that's for something else. Okay, anyways, let's see if this works. So I'll just apply this to all the prefabs, and then I'll hide this. Let's see. Yes, it does. Awesome. So now we spawn in the correct place. I'll just see if I can get shot and kill. Okay, I can definitely get shot, I think. And I can get him. That's cool. It's just dabbling with his feet outside of the wall. I don't mind that. Small error. Boom, boom, boom. Should be enemies in here. Oh, got him. Boom. Yeah, sometimes the weapons fall down to the floor. I think that there's a way to fix that as well. Cool, but it works. And then once we finished loading or finished setup, then we can turn this to false. So that means when we get shot, we should notice it again. Let's see if that works. It does work. Got him. Cool. And that means we can now have a reset. We should probably call it restart since we do that in the menu. Restart. And we're gonna have an event for this that's gonna call game restart. And this is gonna be a global event. I'm gonna put it there. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now I'm in a pickle because I didn't add all the enemies to anything really. I don't know if I should add them to a array or maybe just a group and then kill all the children of that. I think I'll do that because then I have it organized as well within the scene. So, but first of all, I will destroy object, and that's gonna be the player. Up. And then I don't know, I hope it will just generate a new map and then get rid of the old one. I haven't used this asset that much before, so I don't exactly know how it's gonna turn out. So I'm thinking, give me a moment. How do we want to do this? My God, my head is. Oh yeah, we need to have the restart button do something. So I think there is a way to have Playmaker call actions. Pointer. UI pointer FX. I can't remember it's been such a long time ago. Boop, boop. UI. Drag and drop UI. That sounds nice, but I don't think that's what we want. Is it event something? Event. Trigger events. Oh yeah, I think this is it. Pointer click. Yeah, and then we can add what we want to happen. So this is gonna be idle, and then this is gonna be pressed, and then we're gonna have an event that's called pressed. That's gonna be a global event, I think. Maybe it doesn't have to. And then if we wait a minute. Oh, it's because it's down here. I'm so confused about this window. I want to get rid of it. Yeah, so the project, good question. So I'm getting asked what's the project for today, and I'm just, with this game, I'm just trying to get the game loop in so you can actually restart it when you die and stuff like that. I'll show you the game in a second if you haven't seen it. So I'm trying to make this button work so when this is pressed, it should reset everything. So send event, and we should have a setup for this. So we're gonna save this game object as well. This is where we generate the level and reset everything. And this is gonna be called game system _geo. So now we have that, and it has the game restart. So once we have this button and it's pressed, it should send the event to the game systems or game system, and that event is restart, game restart. Okay, let's see if it works. Make create games. Welcome to the stream. Happy to see you in here. So I'm just gonna walk a little bit and see what happens when I press restart. Crash? No, okay. So it did restart. Yes, I'm working on this. Wait, no, another person is shooting me. I'm working on this top-down shooter. And it's just, I'm trying to do it without using my amazing art skills. Oh, I died. Yeah. So it's inspired by Hotline Miami and the likes of it. It's quite slow when you press restart though. I wonder what happens with all the enemies that we had. Oh yeah, okay, so there's one enemy, I'll show you. So there's one enemy that's not supposed to be in this spot. And I think he's there because we don't despawn them, let's put it that way. Yeah, there's one over here as well, and they're in weird places. So I want to fix that. Okay. I'll get rid of this, and these are some of the rooms that you can see in the game. There's like modules that are being put together to make it random generated. Actually, I don't want to put those away just yet. So I want to make a empty game object, and I'm gonna call that enemies. And I'm gonna zero that out. Cool. And then once we spawn enemies, oh, now I can't remember exactly how we do that. Let me check. I think there's an enemy spawner on each of these that I don't think is a prefab. Enemy E. Okay, so first of all, I want to open this prefab. I think I made it a nested prefab. I hope I did. Ah, I didn't, of course. Typical. So this is the small setup that I did to spawn the enemies. And let me see how it does it. Yeah. Spawn. So So this is the one where we spawn the enemy. And this kind of sucks because I wish I had made this a prefab. I don't know why, but I'll make sure before I add too many enemies that I do make it a prefab. Parent. So we're gonna parent this to, let's call it enemies group underscore game object. So that should do the trick for those. And then I have another place where I also it's this hallway T. I'm gonna open up that as well, and that has the same system. So those are the only modules that actually spawn enemies. And if this was a prefab, I didn't have to do it too. Yeah, so I'm trying to make this game without any skills. So I am using visual scripting, which is quite easy for most people to use. That's also how I do it normally. I'm not very good with coding. So yeah. Please don't judge me. Oh no, didn't I make it a... Did I make it a... Yes, I did. I did make it a global. Okay. I'll apply this, and I guess I'll try that as well. So now it should save all the enemies in that group. We can see out here if it does. So we have, where did it go? And it didn't. Oh, it's because I didn't, I haven't defined this yet. So get owner, and this is gonna be the enemies group, and we'll call this setup. Cool. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so it did save a lot of enemies now. You can see that under the game object, which is great. Just walking around like ants. So if I turn this off, this shouldn't be... Oh, can I even do the S? Okay. So I just want to check if that was... Oh, why did I pause it? I just want to check if I got all the enemies. I think I did. Cool. I don't know if this is the best way to do this actually, but this is just the way that I think would make sense, because then it will be a bit more clean out here in the hierarchies in the scene. Game systems. So now we have them all in one group, so I can just loop through all the children of that and then delete them, which I hope is easy. Get child, get next child, that should be. I mean, all these actions are also things you'll find in C#, I think, at least. It just makes it easier for me and for whoever is gonna look at it. But it can get like really complicated. The game that I made, Night Out, which I spent 5 years on, is almost only Playmaker, which is insane because it's quite heavy and it's a quite big game. So I think it shouldn't it shouldn't have been like that. The reason was that it was not supposed to be that long of a project, but that's just how it ended up. So now we go to next child, and then once it's done, we'll call it done. And then next, oh, actually I need to set this as setting up the game again once we do restart it. So we're gonna loop through all the children of the enemy's group, and that means just all the objects that are under that one. And then we're just gonna delete them. Destroy, it's called. And then destroy enemy. Cool. Let's see if it works. Me working the double mouse. Okay, so there's a few enemies here. I'll try to restart it. So I guess what I need to look for is... Oh, okay. Whoa. Uh-oh, behind the scenes stuff. That was crazy. Or maybe it's because it's doing too much in one frame. So it's trying to go through all of it. Yeah. Oh no, I hope I saved enough. Did I save? I hope I saved before I did that. Yes. Woohoo! Awesome. So before we... Maybe that could be the thing. I mean, it did work before, so I can't see why it should be any different. So I'm just... Because there's a lot happening, once we reset the game, we might want to spread it out over different frames. And there's an action for that called next frame event. So that means it will just skip a frame kind of. It will do the first stuff in one frame and then we'll go to the next frame. And the next frame is generating the dungeon, not dungeon, but the level. Yeah, it's a good idea to make smaller games. I would never recommend doing what I did. Spending 5 years on one game is just way too much energy and time, and without having the proper experience, we did that, and it's just like a cluster of bad decisions. But it happened, and that's... Yeah. That's how it is. So I'll see if this works now. Restart. Okay. So that did work. Oh, okay. It's a bit choppy. I think there's several reasons for that. Let me just pause this. Yes, I think this looks right. I just want to check if there's any enemies that are in weird spots where they're not supposed to be. Yeah, cool. I think this is totally what I wanted. Yeah, if they're walking around, then it works. There's a small timer that will just be standing, and the purple things are how can I say this? The purple things is the nav mesh, the navigation mesh for the AI, and it's just purple because it's generated and it doesn't have any material on it, and this is mostly a visualization of it. So yeah, but it looks like it's working, so I'm happy. I'm happy if you're happy. Okay, so now we can reset. Thanks, man. I want to keep working on this, and my plan is to make a very simple, small game and just release it and see if people enjoy it and have fun with it, and maybe keep working on it if that's the case. So now I want to look into the UI, because we don't want to have this text on all the time. It's just annoying. So I'm gonna set this up, and I'm just gonna set game objects, and this is gonna be pause canvas, and I'm just gonna drag this. Actually, it's not pause canvas, it's game canvas. Awesome. Yeah. And that means also we can put in a button. So first of all, we want to hide it, right? We don't want it to be visible. So I'm just gonna deactivate it with this active game object. So you can set down here if you want it active or deactivated. And then down here we need a button to press. So I'm using something called rewired player button down. And this is just because it's easier to have inputs. I haven't used Unity. Have a good input system as well. It's updated, but I just didn't use it because I know this by heart. So it's way easier for me to use, and it's just basically what buttons are you pressing and how to deal with it. that's what the system does. But it's quite nice because it works with a lot of controllers, and it also works on different platforms. So this is the editor, and I just want to. This is the actions that I have for my character. And I'm just adding a new one because we need to be able to pause, and it's going to be called pause. And then in the keyboard maps, you can see how I mapped these. I don't know what I want the space to be. Why I added that, I'll delete that again. And then I'll add a new one, and that's going to be, then you select the action, pause, and then you look for which button you want it to be on. And I think it's quite clear that it should be escape. I don't know where else you would put a pause button. So now we have the action. That's awesome, and we can use that in our code, or visual coding. So I have already put in the pause icon. So add an action that's called pause, and then this is going to go to another state. And this is when the button is pressed down. Then we'll go to pause, and we will have another one called on pause. Oh, so this is kind of like a trickery way of doing it, because I'm gonna do something that's a bit I don't know what to say. It's like a no. I'm gonna do a little bit of no thing. Didn't I save this? Oh, it's game canvas. It's gonna be activated, and then once we unpause, it's gonna be deactivated. Which means you can press the button to get the pause menu, and then you press the button to get rid of the pause menu. Cool, let's just see if that works. If something works the first time you're testing it, it's a miracle. Wait. Oh, and now I pressed restart for some reason. Oh, and then it says a lot of stuff over here. I don't know if this is the correct way to do it. I think it works when it's full screen. Yeah. You can try again. Maybe that's why it lags. Oh, no, it does it every time. I don't know, I have to look into that, but that's annoying. So I will call this state paused. Hide pause. Pause. And the thing is that you actually don't want to be able to control your character, and you also don't want what's it called? You don't want the enemies to be able to move. So therefore I'm gonna scale time. And this is quite an easy fix, but because that will just like put the time to 0, making anything that is able to move not able to move. And then afterwards I'll set it to 1 again. So that should do the trick. Yeah, cool. I want to see what happens if I press it again. Does it do the same? Okay, that worked. Oh. Yeah, so when we reset, we should probably set the time to 1 as well. We start. Because otherwise we're never gonna go to the next frame. Yeah. Cool. But why doesn't it hide it though? Okay. Is it because, yeah, okay, it's because it activates it here. So maybe we wanna unhide it in this state instead. Hide pause. Hide pause 2. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh. Yes, it does. Awesome. I'm quite happy with that. Boom. Boom. So, wait, he shot his enemy dude. So I think the next step is death, having death screen. But I'm gonna take a break, I think. Should I stop here? Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop because it was just a test to try to stream and see how everything was, and I think I've been streaming a bit more than an hour now, so I think that's probably a good time to call it. But thank you for tuning by. It was a lot of fun just to try out. You saw the turtle, you saw the game. What more do you want? So cheers guys, thank you for watching.